We pivoted our whole model to be mobile, gamified at-home app that rewards pet parents for all the care they're giving for their pets.
When we are live. Maya, thanks for being on the podcast. We really appreciate you. And thanks for being here.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to chat with you. Give you all the behind the scenes info.
That's what we want. That's what the podcast is for. All right. So maybe, give us that before we get into all the juicy stuff and all behind the scenes stuff, maybe give us a little bit of intro, who you are, a little bit of history and what you're doing with Vetted.
So I'm Maya Shaposhnik Cadena. I'm originally from LA, moved to Israel, lived there until I was about 26. I founded 2 companies in Israel. Both were bootstrapped. They were not in the pet space, but always in things that I really love and am passionate about. Sold both those companies and then moved to New York, and I became a professional fundraiser for 5 years. So I always say, like, for me, it's fundraising. Yeah. Like most founders are like, oh, I got to fundraise. And I'm like, I love this part. But, it was something I really learned about myself. I never knew how comfortable I'd be just going out for a coffee and asking for like $500,000. Like, it was just wild.
That needs to be a book. All right, we'll get into it later. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did fundraising and I loved my job so much, but I definitely in the last year, I did it for 5 years. My last year, I started to get this crazy itch to go back into entrepreneurship. And it was during COVID that I started to everyone was home. So you have a lot of like philosophical thoughts. And I'm like, I really need to go back into entrepreneurship. So I thought, okay, but what do I love like so much that I could just suffer the grind of being an entrepreneur? And I was like, well, I really love dogs. I really love pets in general. And I really think the space needs to be smacked and turned over on its head. Like, I just felt that it's so old school. So that at that time, I actually applied to University of Chicago and I went to Booth School of Business. And I literally told everyone in my class, like, I'm not going to consulting or investment banking. I don't care. Like, I'm going to start my own company in pet care. I'm never working on my CV again. So if anybody wants to like join me, my Slack, just hit me up and we'll do something together. And so I started the company in my first year of business school. I went through the accelerator program. I launched Vetted Pet Health, and the mission has always stayed the same. It's never changed, no matter how many pivots. And I'm sure we'll go into that in the podcast. But my mission was always to empower the pet parent, to give the highest standard of care to their pets. And I believe that you can only do that through making it accessible, fun, and full of education. And so that's how I started Vetted. And now we're 4 years later and we're launching our new product in 8 days. So very busy time at Vetted, but I love it. And I'm very thankful I took that leap.
So I guess before we talk about what it started as, what maybe it became at some point, and then what it is now, and what do you foresee for it in the future, it's always so interesting because we've talked to a few founders now, and I've talked to a ton of founders, Colin as well, over time. And it's like once they sell their first or second company, it's always the same. It's like, oh man, like I'm never doing this again, right? And then after some time passes, and then you talk to them after a few months, and like, oh, I'm starting this new company. It's this like push-pull thing where you're like, I don't ever want to do this again. And then some time passes, and you forget all the bad. You're like, oh, I have this great idea. I should definitely pursue this. And then they end up going again. Like, what is that? The masochistic.
Exactly. I actually tell people that I know that I'm a masochist, and then they laugh, and I'm like, no, I know, because
you gotta be a little bit.
You have to be. There's no way. You have to enjoy the bad times. Like, you cannot just enjoy the good times. It just doesn't make sense. In general, in life, I think like that. But I really have a growth mindset. I actually highly recommend reading a book by, I believe her name is Carol Dweck, but she wrote a book called Growth Mindset. And I love that book because it's really just about how you view things in the world. So every time something bad happens at Vetted, I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm going to have to go through really hard times, have very hard conversations with people that I think are excellent on my team. And there's nothing I could do because we're pivoting, for example. But I always ask myself, what is it here to teach me? Because it's always there to teach me something. And if I really understand what it's there to teach me, then I won. I didn't lose. I won. Maybe I didn't win exactly in that second, but I know like, wow, I grew from this. And then whatever I can take from that, I can be better the next time. I can be stronger. I can be faster. And I know for a fact that I will start another company, like one in the future. I know it. Like I don't even deny it anymore because I love the grind. Like it is what it is. I love it. And I
Yeah.
love the good just like I love the bad.
I think that's maybe some of the false narrative, or I don't know, some of now I think it's turning, but for the longest time, the media has only showed the top 1% of founders and the glitz and glam and, tech entrepreneurs just doing tech entrepreneur stuff. But the behind the scenes, it's very mundane. It's very boring. It sucks. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of arguments. It's pivots. It's, raises that didn't go well. It's a new product that isn't shipped. It's constant problems. And it's like, it's not even like, oh, it's 50% good, 50% bad. It's not, I don't want to say bad, but it's problem solving the majority of the time. And if you don't enjoy it, probably just go work at a great corporate job and make a lot of money instead of doing this,
I always say that whenever I'm stuck in a phase in the company, I always say, oh, I just want this phase to end so I can have other problems to focus on. I just accept it. It's not like I'm going to raise money and everything's going to be beautiful, or I'm going to buy a company and everything's excellent. Like that's never happening. Like whoever says that's happening, like it's like anomaly. It doesn't happen like that.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's always like, oh, I just want to close this round so I could have now a problem with growth, that I can have a problem with hiring, that I can have a problem with like product market fit, like, cause I know it's coming. It's just, you're building something new. What do you expect? Like it's not tried and tested. So it's coming.
Once you decided, like leaned into the masochist side of yourself and you're like, okay, I'm going to launch Vetted. I'm going into it. I'm passionate about the pet industry. Completely agree about the antiquation, which is nice to see a lot of people coming in, especially from an outside perspective and wanting to fix it. That's like literally why Roy and I do this, is to hopefully bring more people like yourself into the pet space to make it better. But what was your like initial idea? Like, I know you've mentioned pivot a few times and we'll get to that, but like, what was your original thesis? What did you set out to do? Kind of walk us through that framework a little bit.
Yeah, so my first focus was really about how do we empower the pet parent so we're not always in the vet's office. Because I felt that I have a beautiful French bulldog. His name is Shore, which actually means bull in Hebrew. So that's where the name comes from. But he, he's a Frenchie. And I knew when I got him, I knew that I was going to have a lot of issues because everybody told me like Frenchies are the dogs with the most issues. And I was like, okay, like I feel that I can handle the issues. Like I feel that I'm willing to spend on him. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to be like in the top percentile of pet parents. But every time I was going to the vet, I was expecting that they were really going to like teach me, that they were going to tell me what I was going to do at home. Like I didn't expect that it was just to go have 5 minutes, pay $300 to $500 and then see them in a year, which is equivalent to 7 to 10 years of our life. I'm like, I don't even go to the vet. I don't even go to the doctor, the human doctor, once every 10 years. Like, I know if I went every 10 years, they'd find something. So I'm like, it can't be like this. Like, it doesn't make sense that I'm not doing anything the entire year. And so I remember one day I was talking to a friend and she mentioned to me, she was like, have you ever thought if something was stuck in Shore's tooth, he doesn't have a thumb. Like, he can't take it out. And I was like, oh my God, for a year it would be stuck until the vet would see it. Like, I was like, that's a true thing. Like, that actually happens. Like, they just sit there and stare at you and something's stuck in their tooth for a year,
Yeah.
And I was just like, it can't be like this. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So I started looking at his teeth. I'm like, they're kind of like mine. Like, I guess if I brush my teeth, I should brush his. And then I started to look into it and I was like, you only need to brush their teeth for 30 seconds, like 3 times a week. And you already like minimize like the impact of poor dental hygiene by like 80% or something.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I could do that. It's 1.5 minutes a week, you know? So slowly I started to pick up on all these small tidbits here, there on Facebook groups and everything. And that's when I said like, okay, someone needs to teach pet parents like how to do things at home. So the first iteration of the product was a paid product. It was a digital app. It was $24 a month. And it basically, based on all the information you gave us on your pet, it taught you what you need to do for your breed, age, region. Like it gave you very specific criteria on what to do from home. And it gave you like a teleconcierge, 24/7 telehealth on the app and a chain of ERs. If anything ever happened, you could rush to the ER and you never had to pay the $200 exam fee to see the doctor. So that's basically the product that we had, and we were so excited about it and nobody was doing it. And then we're building the product, like we raised October 2021. We built the product and we launched it June 2022.
How
And
much
exactly, we raised 2 million as a pre-seed round. And then in between, like, I want to say April, May of 2022, all of a sudden everyone's launching like, 24/7 telehealth platforms for free. And I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, how are we going to commoditize this? Like, we can't sell this. Like, Chewy's giving it for free, and then all the insurance platforms, Lemonade, they start giving it for free. And then Walmart comes up with free for anyone who's on Walmart Plus. So we're just like, oh my gosh, but we just spent all this money building it. Like, what are we going to do? So we started to try to like change it, to like change the model. Maybe we made a free version of it. We thought maybe we could push people to the paid version. And we released the model, and we had like a big chain of dog daycares that we were going through the daycare ecosystem to get them to download the free version of the app, which would tell you when your vaccines are expired. And then hopefully we were pushing people down the funnel to the paid version. And that's when, like, I want to say 3-4 months into the business, around September, October of 2022, the dog daycare chain, one of the largest that we partnered with, said, like all these people that use the free vetted app, they love it, but they're actually wanting you guys to do all the services that you're telling them to do at the vet's office. Like, they're expecting you to do the vaccines. They're expecting you to do the heartworm, flea and tick. They're saying, does vetted have a clinic? And we were like, well, we're having really hard time with growth. We need to be profitable much faster because the market started tanking too. Like, the economy started going down there. And so we were like, maybe we should open a pop-up vetted clinic. Like, we'll just try one. So all of a sudden we opened in Chicago, like in the heart of downtown, we opened a mini vetted clinic inside a dog daycare. So we basically took a small space in the dog daycare. Yeah, it was really cool. And it was a room. It would be a really small bedroom for someone, like a New York apartment bedroom. Okay. Like, for context.
Yeah.
And we basically brought in a vet and a vet technician, and we serviced all of the pet parents that were coming to the grooming, the boarding, the training, the daycare. And we basically did all the preventative healthcare services, and then we upgraded them to buy our app, the paid version of our app. So there was a retail digital model, and the first clinic was doing so well. Like, we were making thousands, tens of thousands of dollars of revenue a week. We were seeing that people loved the app. The conversion was so high to the app. So we're like, this could actually be a brilliant go-to-market strategy. Like, it doesn't cost us much to open this small room. Like, you barely need anything. So we're like, maybe we should do this. And then daycare started requesting us, like, can you open in ours? Can you open in ours? So we pivoted the model basically from digital to owning these mini vet clinics inside dog daycares with a digital app subscription on top of it. And of course, all my investors were pissed because they were like, what? Like, you sold us on a digital platform. Now you're going to retail? I'm like, it's not really retail. Like, I don't own the real estate. I have no problems with permits. I have almost no capex. And it's so profitable. Like, look at the business model. And I had to like fly to New York and sit with them and explain to them in person. And half of them were like, okay, we believe that this is the right move. And half of them were like, but we don't like retail. We don't like retail. Like, don't do this. And I'm like, well, give me then another idea, because we need to have some kind of movement in the market. And whatever we plan to do, all the big players did it 2 months before us. So like,
Mm-hmm.
it is what it is. This is the reality. So give me a solution. And nobody could come up with one. So I was like, I'm not listening to you guys. Sorry. I'm listening to the customer.
Yeah.
My job is to listen to the customer, because if you want product market fit, then you have to suck it up. It might not be the solution you like. That's too bad. But I have to listen to the market. That's my job, is to bring you a return on your investment. And if I keep doing what I did until now, trust me, you won't get any return. So I just did it, and we pivoted into that model. We started opening. We had a proof of concept, a pilot that we ran for a couple of months. I think it was like 8 or 9 months. And then we raised a round. We raised our seed round. It was 3 million by a strategic partner that had 300 dog daycares and vet clinics nationwide. And they were like open in all our locations. So obviously when you hear that, you're like, I made it. Like, I'm done.
Boom,
like,
done.
we made it, right? False. Didn't happen like that. It was obviously beautiful on paper, and the idea was so strategic. There was so much alignment. But what ended up happening was that we ended up opening 6 locations. We were about to be in Boston, but we were in Chicago, Dallas, and New York City, and we were about to open in Boston. And what we saw was, first of all, like vet clinic appointments just started to go down. Like, where it used to be that you were waiting 3 months for an appointment, we saw that vet clinics that were there for 20, 30 years, all of a sudden had 30% of their appointments open a day.
Wow.
And we were like, what's going on here? Like, you have to be kidding me. Like, literally, we just made so much money from our pilot, and all of a sudden we were entering a market that was just like it was not a good time to like open something so innovative, so different, so new. So that was the first thing, like the market headwinds. The second thing was that we're a box within a box, which means that we can't control the experience. Only when you enter our box can we control the experience. And because our brand was positioned to be so premium, think about it. You're alone in a room with a vet and a tech, just you. There's no other appointments. There's not 6 appointments happening in your 30-minute block. So you're getting true healthcare for 30 minutes of uninterrupted time. But we were doing that in locations that were not as premium as us, right? So there was a misfit between our more like premium clientele and the general daycare population, boarding daycare, that wasn't looking for anything premium, right? So they weren't coinciding well, the box within a box model. So that was the second takeaway. And then the third takeaway was that the profitability on average in one location was excellent, but on average, it wasn't where we needed it to be. So basically the model is not scalable. And for me, like once those 3 things came together, which was January of this year, January 2024, we already had 6 locations, and I was like, this is going to be a really small business. Like, we'll be lucky if we're in 20 places nationwide. Like, it's going to be really hard to find fancy daycares with a space, with a great team, like, et cetera, et cetera. And so I had to make a really hard decision. Like, is this the impact I want to make as a founder? Or am I looking to make an impact that's much greater and much broader? And I decided that that's where my passion lied. So we ended up pivoting the whole business, shutting down all the clinics, which was so brutal because we had to say goodbye to all of our teams that were like family to us. And we actually bought a digital app company that we loved from the UK. It was an Israeli-based company, but functioning in the UK, called Doggies. And we pivoted our whole model to be mobile, gamified at-home app that rewards pet parents for all the care they're giving for their pets. So walk your dog, you get care coins. Do quizzes, like trivia quizzes and education, and watch a video and read an article, care coins, care coins, care coins. And then you're racing your friends, right? So like you're on leaderboards and you're racing them who's the best pet parent. And then you basically take those care coins that you've achieved on the app, and you're able to reward either yourself, buy yourself a Starbucks, go to REI and get a gift card, ask for a Visa debit card. You could even convert it to cash. And you basically use all those rewards and you say, I'm rewarding myself. And so that's where we are today.
Wow. What a shift. I'm sure half of your investors again were like, yes, digital again.
Oh
All
yeah, they were
right.
so happy. They're like, we told you. And I was like, if
Yeah.
I would have done what you said, I would have been bankrupt. You know,
It's so
like
funny. Well, yeah. And I honestly, like you said on paper, like all of that sounded so great. And then as soon as you started talking about like the mismatch, I was like, oh my God, I could totally see that because and then it just becomes so strategic where you're like having to probably go in person and be like almost like a shadow dog owner and be like, is this the experience that matches with what we're trying to give? And that control variable is just like so limiting. But everything else on paper,
so
I was like, oh
hard.
my God, this is great. Like,
I
yeah,
know.
you're not dealing with a landlord. You're just in a little box and like, siphoning off of what's already coming into a daycare. They get the premium add on. So all that made sense. But I'm wondering, so with this current pivot, you said launching in 8 days, have you done like a beta test or like anything with users yet? Or is this going to be like your beta launch, or what kind of feedback have you gotten, I guess, from dog owners, or pet owners in general on this?
Yeah, so that's the part I'm very excited about because um, what ended up happening was that in October of 2023, wait, 2024, sorry, I came to Israel for a personal thing, but one of my board members is here in Israel, and he told me, Maya, I really think you should go to like network with some pet tech companies. And I was like, great, I would love to meet them. And so he gave me a list of a few that he heard of. And the first one on the list was doggies. And I like Googled them. I looked at the website and I was like, oh my God, like this is exactly what I tried to build in the first app I had. But I took it to like a very healthcare place and they took it to a very lifestyle, fun mobile game. And I knew that that was the main problem, other than the competition, that was the telehealth side. But the main problem of engagement on our app was that it was too much of a burden. Like people saw the checklist and they blacked out. They were like, I can't do this. Like I have work. I can't. I have kids. Like this is too much for me. I don't want having a dog to feel like a burden. And we didn't know how to like change it to be a psychological game where it didn't feel like that. And what Doggy succeeded to do in the UK at the core of what they did, they were at the core, they were a dog walking, like very similar to Strava, how you
Mm-hmm.
log in your exercise and you see the map and you
Hmm.
like it and you comment. So they had that aspect of it. And they also developed a few AI tools called the Doctor series. Their most used feature was actually, it's called Doctor Poop. And so basically it's like when you walk your dog, you pick up their number two. You always know what the number two looks like. You don't want to freak out when it doesn't look good because you're like, oh, what's coming? Instead of taking a picture, saving it in your phone, and then potentially sending it to your vet if they even have telehealth, or then going and showing them on your phone what it looked like, you could just take a picture in the app and you got rewarded for all that activity. And the app would tell you if it's serious and you need to see a vet within 24 hours. If it gives you like a yellow, like a street light, it would tell you just send a few more pictures and we'll let you know if it's good or bad. And green, like you're good to go, keep walking. And so doggies did that in the UK for years and had 50,000 active users using the app 30 minutes a day.
Wow.
Wow.
Like that's crazy. Like
That is
apps are
crazy.
lucky if they get 5 minutes, you know? And so what I saw was like, wow, what they did, of course they had the AI tools and everyone loves the word AI, right? So they're like AI, but like, and I'm not minimizing the AI tools. I'm just saying that for me, the, the secret sauce of what doggies did and why I was so excited to buy their company and have their advisory board come to us was that they understood this human psychology. They knew how to get people on the app and to earn, to compete. And I was like, I want that knowledge. Like, and I think that knowledge with my passion of what healthcare should look like and how we should empower the pet parent from home, that combination is the killer combination. And so we already had product market fit through doggies in the UK. We know that. And so for us, it was just putting it into the greater vetted umbrella, which is why I lived in Israel for the last 4 months. I was actually merging the doggies company into the vetted company. And now that vetted is housing it in a way that makes sense, from a customer experience and our company vision and goals, we're now releasing it in the United States in 8 days.
Well,
Wow. But it's going to be under vetted, or are you going to keep the doggies branding?
It's under vetted.
Under
Yeah,
vetted.
we're
Okay.
keeping it vetted. And the main reason was that I do believe that there's a lot of at-home care for cats, and doggies excludes cats immediately. So
Yeah.
we decided to keep the vetted name
Smart.
as the umbrella. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so funny like I always think gamification, and it's like it's like an easy gloss over term, like, oh yeah, just gamify it, and you're like, okay, but what the hell does that mean? Like, like how do we do this? And so Strava is like like you brought up Strava, excellent example of like gamifying. Like I do my walks, like runs, bikes, like everything on that, and now they can actually plug in with your pet. Like they did a partnership with Fi, and you can track all that. So it's like also showing the overlap in that sense. And so that's really cool. And I remember I have a pug that I adopted, and I remember telling my wife, I was like, and I had like a little just mess around TikTok with him, like just like a creative outlet. And I was like, I'm going to hold myself accountable to brushing his teeth and just being like, I'm going to like upload it every day of like just me trying to brush this tiny little mouth all the time, because we had to get 10 of his teeth removed, and we think he's like 3-ish.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm getting out ahead of this thing. Like I'm gonna brush it more, because it's tough. I'm sure with the Frenchie too. They're just like, they're feisty, and if you pinch their mouth, they're like, they start like breathing funny and stuff, and so you're just trying to get in there. But I always felt like something to keep me accountable, and if there's like a value exchange on that, or I'm getting some kind of benefit back that I can use towards their health, or like you're saying, it seems like you might have like just regular partnerships, with like REI and Starbucks you mentioned. So there's like even more of I think that makes it even more interesting that like the owner can be rewarded themselves, not just something for the pet. So I think that's a cool insight. Yeah, that's awesome.
So a few things. One, I had 7 pugs growing up.
Oh my God.
All at
7.
once, or?
All at once.
No
I will send you guys
way.
a picture after so you can
A
see.
proper
Yes, thanks to
grumble.
it was called they used to call our house the Snort Factory. That was like the street creds was called the Snort Factory.
That's
But
so good.
yeah, so when you said pug, you already won me over. Second, you also mentioned about how it's hard to brush his teeth. So in the app, like we have an area in the app, it's called More Ways to Care. So if you want to get more engaged, like you're like, I love this. I want to do more. I want to do trivia. I want to do quizzes. I want to learn. You basically go to More Ways to Care. And one of the things that I've been testing the app like 5 times a day right now. So one of the things I love that I saw in More Ways to Care was talking about the importance of when you get your dog, you adopted him. He's already 3. So it's a little harder. But when you get your dog, touching their mouth, like moving the flaps in their mouth, touching inside, touching their ears, and like them having that sensory experience, it breaks the fact that when you brush their teeth, they're gonna actually just sit there. My Frenchie sits in a perfect position because I've been doing it since he's a baby, and I show him the teeth brush. He starts salivating because he knows that it's like a chicken flavored toothpaste. And I lift his lip and and he just sits there and he waits. I have videos of this because like I made all these videos. Yeah. And it's all because I've desensitized him. So in the app, like you have those things, it literally takes you 10 seconds to read in the app. But when you think about how it changes your life, like your lifestyle with taking them to the vet and they don't bite the vet when they look because they're already desensitized.
It's funny. Like it's like, my pug's name is Toast, and he loves it. Like we have a pit pug mix as well. And he's super easy. Like it's like he does that. He just sits there, and it's funny because I flick the head of the toothpaste open and he's like, comes around the corner. So he like loves the flavor and the idea of it, but he's just like, so bouncy and stuff. But that is a good point. Like I think there's a lot of things that it like teeth in general. And like you said, there's poop, there's teeth, there's skin. There's a lot of different categories, right, that you could talk about. But like, I think teeth is like the massive, missing piece. I think a lot of people just don't get it or understand, or they think I just buy a bag of greenies and feed them that and it'll be fine. So like being able to educate people, especially when they first get that dog and like knowing how to address that and make it, set themselves up for success as much as possible, I think is a big piece, because it is like right now, it's like some people are trying to solve for it. Additives to water. Spot and Tango just launched like a pup gum. Like everyone's trying to tackle this, but like the best way to do it is like to be able to brush their teeth.
Sure.
But it's so hard for so many people. And I think that like just that little initial gap that you're talking about, like if someone could see success with that, I could see just from that aspect alone, like this app being super sticky for somebody and being like, well, this has worked fantastically for me.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. Definitely, if you already do it, then the app, like for you, this app is going to only give you benefits, right? Because you're
Yeah.
already brushing their teeth. That's
Yeah.
actually why we highlighted our dog walking app. The dog walking feature is the highlight right now. Why? Because everybody walks their dog. So you're already doing it. You might as well just get rewarded for it.
Yeah.
And my hope is through that, we then, it's like, for lack of a better word, it's like a gateway drug in a positive way,
Yeah.
It's like you open the door through the dog walking and then they just like start to learn other things. And they're like, wait, I didn't know this. I didn't know that. I didn't know this.
That should be your tagline, by the way. You're already doing it. You might as well get rewarded for it.
Yeah, your headline on your website, actually, it's really good. Like you already spoil your dog.
We're A/B testing. Yeah, we're A/B testing many things. So you probably saw, you already spoil your dog. You might as well get rewarded for it.
Yeah. That was a good one. I was like, that's, yes, that resonates well. So talk to us more about the back end side of that. So like, okay, so I'm assuming it's going to be free initially to launch, like for, Roy and I and the rest of the population to sign up. How are you basically on the back end partnering with other brands or doing the coin system? Are you launching a crypto token or what? Just kind of walk us through like how that's working on the back end, how you have that set up.
Just do a quick pump and dump and leave the country.
No. It's funny you said that, because one of the brands that we actually love and we did a lot of research, it's called Sweatcoin. Have you heard of that company?
Oh yeah. That's what made me think of it. Them and Steppen,
exactly.
like we're doing this for a while.
Tell me more. For those who don't know, like myself, what is it?
It's basically, you walk every day, you're taking steps, so you might as well just calculate it on Sweatcoin. And then the reward that you get is in like a cryptocurrency. A lot of people are just walking 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 steps a day. Why not just get rewarded for it? So they're doing something very similar to us in the human health space. Their focus is only walking, and we specifically did not want to be only dog walking. We wanted to be at home care, so it's more broad. But when we talked about like crypto and stuff, like it's not my space. Like I don't know enough about it, and I felt like not passionate about that aspect. So we actually wanted and I do think it focuses on a very specific customer too. So we wanted the reward system to be broad, which is why we have many different partners that you could choose from. That being said, we do have like our preferred partners. And so the way that it works with the care coins is that you're getting care coins constantly. There are ways to get bonus care coins. If you do certain like amounts of streaks, like that you're doing every single day, then you get also bonuses. You get badges. It's already plural. You get badges. And if you get multiple different types of badges, then you also get bonus care coins. So you're constantly racking up, right? And once you have those care coins, you then want to redeem them. So you have a store in the Vetted app where you can redeem them. You can redeem them through thousands of different retailers that we partner with. Or you can redeem them with our preferred partners. And what does that do? It's very similar to the US credit card point system, right? Where you get a lot more value at our partners. So if you were to use it for cash, maybe let's say you get $5, right? And maybe if you use it for a gift card, maybe you got $6 or $7. But if you used it in our partners, you'd get $10. So for you as a user, you're like, I want my points to give me more. And for that reason, I'm going to choose the vetted partners. So that's one way from a consumer perspective. From a business perspective, you have our main revenue stream is through our B2B partnerships. So we basically reached out. Right now we have about a dozen partners that we're working with in our program. And we actually have a program that you should see some advertisement in the, I should send you those ads actually, Roy. I just remembered I didn't send it to you yet. But we took a few
Any
ads
day
to
now.
put in the newsletter. Yeah, I'll send it. I'll send it right after this call. We have a B2B pilot partnership program, which is basically where we take one exclusive partner per pet care category, right? So insurance, food, supplements, daycare, etc. And we put their advertisements in the app. So they're in different places. You do tasks, you read their articles, you get badges for being their customers, you get sponsored challenges. You can see that on Strava. They do that a lot. Like if you walk 10 more miles this month, like Nike will give you $50 off in your next purchase. So we'll do something like that with a B2B partner, right? And we put all of that stuff in the app, and it's really a completely new channel. It's integrated seamlessly, so it doesn't feel like overkill or not relevant, right? It's like very relevant to the user. And when they purchase through that, we get a revenue share. Vetted gets one. So basically the model is built off of like some kind of monthly payment that the B2B partners put us to be on our platform. And we advertise them, and in return we get a revenue share.
I want to do a quick U-turn back around to something you mentioned earlier that's kind of been sitting in the back of my mind. You essentially you got about $5 million from your investors, and you go to them and you sit and you're like, I'm going to not do what you tell me to do, but I'm going to do what I think I should be doing in order to save this business. And I think there's a lot of founders, especially if you're a first-time founder and you go to these experienced investors and they've been doing this for 30 years and they give you millions of dollars, you're inclined, and I'm not saying this is either good or bad, but you're inclined to listen to them because of their experience and because they gave you all this money, and maybe sometimes they're steering you right, sometimes they're steering you wrong. How do you, when you're in that intersection and you're sitting there, how do you know I should be listening to these folks who have a ton of experience and have given me money and I don't know, the equity, but they have a stake in the company and they trusted me, and my own intuition, my own instincts, me knowing what I have to do in order to keep this afloat or, pivot here or there. Like, how does that work out? How does that conversation happen, internally?
It's too early to tell you guys something, but it reminded me that even here, okay, I'll give you like a green version of it. But every time you pivot the company, you also need to let go of your board. Okay? Unless they're like VCs where they sit there and they have like rights and all that stuff. But if you're a small company and you're pivoting, if your board isn't doing what your pivot is going to do, there's no reason for them to take a board seat and really be active. They could be an observer, but I'm talking about true board value, right? That's really hard. Like, those are some of the hardest conversations I've had to have, because they're people that you have a deep bond with, you trust them, you know that they're fully in it, but they don't have the know-how anymore. And you have to be honest because you don't have time. The biggest problem in a startup is you have no time. So you have to just like make the tough decisions and go as fast as you can, or you just won't survive to live the tale. Like, it's just, that's how it works. So when you were talking, it made me think about all those moments I had to have those discussions, which were so hard, much harder than the investor discussions, but they're in the same category. So one of the things I think about as a founder is that I don't know what I don't know. I always remind myself there's an area that I don't know, and I actually don't even know what that area is, right? So a lot of people actually, they know those things and they can wake them up in me and they can give me context. So I'll have meetings with investors and I'll tell them like, okay, this is what I'm doing. What do you think? Like, I'm not coming as a dictator and saying like, I'm doing this and it's out. I'm like, Chewy just does this for free. Like Walmart just did this for free. Like we tried for 3, 4 months. Like we only got the free version. We can't push them down the funnel. We only have 8 more months of run. Like what do you think I should do? Like the market's taking a tank. They're saying you can't even raise money for the next 2 years. Like what do you think I should do right now? Because my job is to return on your investment. And I'm telling you that if we keep this path, we will not. So give me a solution or ask me questions that will push my boundaries. And then a lot of them will say, I don't know, Maya. That's why I gave you the money. I don't know. And then I'll say, okay, like, you know, if they don't know, then it's a dead end for me. Like I need someone to challenge me because I don't know what I don't know. So then those people will kind of be in their own category and they'll decide if they want to reinvest or not, and they know the risk when they came into a startup. These are people that invest. They know the risk. Then there's another category which pushes me, right? So I have an amazing two board members that are very, very different than one another. They're always taking different positions. And for me, that's very healthy. Some people think it's exhausting. I don't think it's exhausting. I find it exhilarating because I need stimulation. Like I need someone that's not the boss. Like I need someone, I'm the boss. I already know that if I'm talking, people are going to be like, yes, yes, yes. You know, I don't need that. I need people that say no, no, no. And I'll be like, great. Why? You know, like what's wrong with my line of thinking? So the two board members had very different perspectives. And so I actually went to them separately. I told them the problems. We sat, we had like a coffee, 1 hour, 1.5 hours. They gave me completely different advice and they explained their advice to me. And then I went and I sat with myself and I was like, I'm the driver. They're not going to do the grunt work, right? They're not going to be the engine of the company. What sounds the most true to me? Because I need to be motivated. Like you're literally in the middle of an ocean. They drop you in an ocean, no lifeguard, no swim vest. Your whole team is tied behind you. Everyone's getting pay cuts and doesn't know where they're swimming. You have to lead the way and be like, soon we'll hit land. You know, it's like, I'm the only one leading this path. So I have to be motivated. So I sat with myself. I remember that I see it clearly in my head. I was in a hotel room. Usually I sleep on people's couches, but this one event, they made me sleep in a hotel. Yeah, I don't care. I'm good with sleeping anywhere. But I was in the hotel room and I was sitting there and I was like, Maya, like this guy just said all this thing and this woman just said all these things. And I was like, they're both right, but what's right to me? Like what speaks to me? Like what fuels me? And I realized like what fueled me was the digital path. And I had to have a very honest discussion with them. I'm like, it's not retail. Like it's not going to be retail. And I'll tell you why. Because for retail, I'm going to have to raise probably 10 to 20 million dollars on a concept that I don't believe can scale. And I can't raise 10 to 20 million on something I'm not 100%, but I'm 100% on the digital. And for that reason, I have to make that decision. And they got over it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Here we are, 8 days away.
Exactly.
8 days away. Wow. I loved hearing your train of thought because I think that's not talked about a lot. And those are hard conversations and people are probably really scared to pivot that might be in a similar boat for all the friction points, that you mentioned. But if you focused on the end result and not the path to get there, and just like, I'm just focusing on this positive end result that will happen, I'm sure then it all becomes doable. But I'm curious too, like, okay, so I know we haven't launched yet, all that good stuff, but I can't help but think, because Roy and I have had a lot of conversations, we've written about it a lot, just with like pet tech, right? So everything is, and I mean more so hardware. So like everything, I'm assuming in this case is phone based, right? So you just like Strava, you hit like, I'm starting to walk, slide it back in your pocket, whatever. It's on your person and you do your business and then you end it. And then same thing. We're like, oh, a poop pictures, teeth pictures. So all of that is like that, right? And then there's that whole other aspect that's passive that we're seeing from, namely the callers right now. So is that something that's even on your roadmap? Is that something that you've considered thus far? I'm just curious where your take is, versus what you're doing and where pet tech in terms of the smart collars are currently.
Yeah, for sure. So I think the pet tech world is very interesting, and we definitely want to partner with the pet tech companies. There could be we already spoke to a few of them, and I do foresee one very nice partnership happening. So we wouldn't want to build our own hardware device. That's a no, but to work and partner with a company, that's a yes. And I think we can bring them a lot of value, because one of the problems with passive technology is that you're not engaging the pet parent. Like, one of the biggest problems, if you ask the collar company, is how do they get them to keep the collar on for long periods of time? A lot of times they'll wear it for X amount of time and then they'll take it off. They won't put it back. And they'll be like, oh, why am I going to put this thing in? It's like, it's annoying to them. So the question is, can you gamify that? Can you make streaks out of that? Can you get them care coins for that? Can you give them bonuses for putting the collar on? And now the Vetted app is getting even more information, and it's shared, and the care coins are working with the other collar companies like offers, right? Like, so you're now creating an ecosystem where it's seamless for the pet parent. So I think we can bring a lot of value to them. And obviously their data brings a lot of value to us too. Things that, pet parents wouldn't necessarily notice or think about. But our aspect, the beauty of the Vetted app, is that it doesn't feel like a burden to do. Like, you want to play. You want to log on. You want to race your friends. Like, your friends are like, dude, you're so lazy. I saw you didn't walk your dog today. Like, how Whoop they have family.
I hope you have some shame badges that you get to replace it. Yeah. Shame.
So far it's positive.
Yeah.
But who knows? I won't omit that. But we did see, like, we have an advisor who is really into Whoop, and he has a leaderboard with his friends and family. And he tells us, he's like, this guy didn't exercise for 5 days. So I wrote him in our leaderboard, and I was like, dude, you're so lazy. And he was like, I would love to do that with our dogs. Like, we all walk our dogs, and I would love to be like, you're such a bad dad. Like, you haven't walked him for like more than 3 minutes on walk. Like, go and walk him already, And so they just have these leaderboards where they do it. So it's fun. That's what I'm saying. It makes us smile. It doesn't make us think like, oh, another task,
Yeah, makes it fun. And it's like, I know people that do that as well with like the Whoops and the Aura rings, and like they'll even do like prize money on it, like glucose monitoring. I know that was like really popular. People are doing glucose, like who can keep your glucose levels like the lowest over like an X amount period of time. So yeah, I definitely I could see that with the pet space for sure, and especially with like around here in Austin, it's like everyone, like your dog goes everywhere with you. So it's like you're already tracking that. So if you're in like health and fitness, like everyone's in a run club here except me. But like, it's just like, it's such an easy extension to do something like that and make it fun.
Yeah. And my hope is, like, we have it in the roadmap to integrate with a lot of these different companies, right? So like Strava would be an easy integration for us. And so that way you're logging it in Vetted, but you're also getting the credit, like the cred in Strava.
Right.
And the same thing with collar companies that have open API, like, and want to partner with us so that we can share the data back and forth. And ultimately the pet parent is the one that's getting all this information, and they're feeling really good about it.
Yeah, because I think what's really cool about Vetted, like, and why I asked about the callers is like, you're basically completing the data pie where it's like all this passive data, like, wow, my dog's heart rate, stress level, respiratory rate, like temperature was all doing XYZ at this time. And then you also took a picture of like the stool, or, you tabulated like the walk or whatever. Like there's other active points that you can use visually, to then kind of have a whole picture of that, which I think is super cool. And that's when, like, I don't know, I feel like that's when that officially happens, like seamlessly, both of those sides, I'm like, dog ownership will never be, and even cat ownership will just never be the same.
Yeah, for me, I would love to take it one step further and integrate with all the like medical data of your vet's office, because there's gold in there, but nobody knows where it is. Like so only vets know. Like,
we've talked about this on the podcast like 100 times, I think already.
Yeah, don't get me started. We'll go way over time.
All right, so we're recording this on the 24th. You said you are officially launching 8 days from now?
Yes, August 1st will be.
Okay, so this will be probably like a day. This will come out probably a day or two before, so pretty good timing. So yeah,
Nice.
where can people find you? How can they sign up? How can they find you personally on social, etc.? Just give us everything.
Great. So vettedpethealth.com, you guys can go on there. You'll be able to download the app directly through there on the App Store. iOS is coming out August 1st, and then Google Play will be coming out a month and a half later. So for all you Android lovers, we're with you. We had a little bit of a delay, but we're going to get it up and running in a couple of weeks. And then in terms of finding me, LinkedIn, I'm not the best at messages, so don't take it personally if you message me and it takes me 3 to 4 days. I do love posting because I deleted all my social accounts. So LinkedIn is my only social account. I know. I did it 2 years ago and I've been consistent.
Yeah, I'm like an inch away from doing the exact same thing. So yeah, I feel you.
I did it and I feel so good. I can't tell you guys how good I feel, but I do post on LinkedIn as a way of like, okay, like I need to talk to someone in the internet, you know, so I'll just post my stuff there. But you can DM me and I always answer everybody in the DMs. It just takes me like between 3 days and a week maximum to get back to people. And if you're a company that's interested in doing a partnership with us, we love partners. We're all about winning together. So you can just reach out to me. You also can email me, maya@vettedpethealth.com. I read all my emails. I answer all my emails, even the ones that are no's that I tell people no, I answer them. So feel free to contact me and very excited.
All right. Well, amazing. That was a great way to finish off. Yeah, we had a blast. This was a lot of fun. We'll definitely have to do it again in the future to kind of get the updates.
Yes.
But yeah, we appreciate you coming on today. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you guys for having me. It was great.